Cicero was a dedicated citizen of the Roman Republic. By the time he reached its highest office, that of consul, in 63 BCE, it was an institution that had lasted over 500 years. Cicero would be one of its last defenders. Cicero's most influential book, De Officiis, or On Duties, was written at the height of the conflict over the future of the Republic. Cicero had refused to join the alliance between Julius Caesar, Crassus, and Pompey, known as the First Triumvirate, and he even pleaded with Julius Caesar in order to preserve the Republic. But it was all in vain, and in 44 BCE, Caesar was violently murdered. It was at this point, when the Republic could either be restored or destroyed forever, that Cicero wrote De Officiis. In De Officiis, Cicero was making a direct attack on those, like Caesar and Mark Antony, who were corrupting what he saw as the foundational principles of the Roman Republic, primarily the sense of civic duty which lay at its foundation. For Cicero, our public life ought to come first. We should fix our gaze on what is good for the Republic, not for ourselves. We have a duty to human fellowship over and above any others. Furthermore, and importantly for later thinkers, Cicero suggested that in working out what our duty is, we should always assume that the good and honorable action is the same as the useful or profitable one. No dishonest action can ever lead to the good of the Republic. 1,500 years later, Machiavelli will have a thing or two to say about this. Cicero followed his own advice, returning to politics as was his duty, and doing his best to pursue the honorable course. This meant opposing the rise of Mark Antony. Cicero made a fundamental miscalculation, however, reportedly stating that the young Octavian, later Augustus Caesar, could be used against Antony and then disposed of. Octavian did not take kindly to this. A year after writing De Officiis, Cicero was captured by Octavian's troops and killed. His head and hands were displayed on the speaker's platform in Rome, a warning to those who might think and write as he did.
The attendants were terror-struck, thinking that more soldiers were coming. And Linus, who had once actually won a court case with Cicero's support, dragged him from the litter and cut his head off. It took 3 blows and some sawing through because of his inexperience. He also cut off the hand with which Cicero had written his speeches against Antony, portraying him as a despot. Cicero's head and hand, for a long time, were fastened to the rostra in the Forum, where he had previously played the popular leader. And more people came to see his severed head and hand than had come to listen to him speak. It is said that Antony had the head placed before his table at meals until he was sated with looking at the vile object.
The Roman Republic may have died shortly after Cicero, but his ideas lasted long after. The rediscovery of his texts in the Renaissance became the foundation for a new movement, Humanism. Civic humanists espoused the same ideals of duty and sacrifice to the Commonwealth as Cicero, seeking to oppose the tyranny of those who would rule it arbitrarily.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.